Welcome, dear listeners, to another heartfelt tale on Swoon Stories, where every heartbeat echoes the power of true love. Today's journey will sweep you away in a whirlwind of secrets, longing, and redemption. As you settle in, imagine the soft glow of candlelight, the faint scent of jasmine drifting through an open window, and the steady drum of a restless heart. Have you ever wondered what it takes to rekindle a love you thought was lost forever? Stay with me, and by the end, you just might believe again. May this story bless your soul and guide your heart toward hope and forgiveness. Let us begin. The ornate ballroom shimmered under a cascade of crystal chandeliers. Satin-draped tables lined the marble floor, and the murmur of high society guests swelled like an approaching tide. At the center stood the grand mahogany dais, where contracts by ink and oath would bind two souls. Adelaide Montgomery, defiant and fierce in her ivory gown, pressed trembling fingers against the silk of her skirt. Her dark eyes flashed with the memory of that final argument, her "I will never be yours," whispered into a stormy night. Behind her, the treaty of marriage lay waiting, a business arrangement born of duty, not desire. His touch will feel like betrayal all over again. Half a world away, Julian Blackwood, CEO extraordinaire and powerful but emotionally wounded, stood tall in a midnight blue suit. His jaw clenched as he recalled the day she vanished from his life, a younger, hopeful him, broken by her departure. Now, he wore his hurt like armor, concealing kindness he poured into orphanages under a secret name. Why did she leave without a word? When Adelaide slipped into the ballroom, the crowd parted as if the sea had opened. He watched her approach, every step stirring old embers he'd sworn were ashes. Their eyes met across the marble, and time shuddered. Their dramatic meet-cute was anything but cute. A stolen glance, a stifled gasp as Adelaide caught sight of Julian. She faltered, her silk-shod foot catching on the hem of her dress. He reached out instinctively, fingers grazing her arm, an electric spark jolting through them both. "Ms. Montgomery," he rasped, voice low enough only for her. "You look breathtaking." Her pulse thundered in her ears. "Don't pretend you don't know why I'm here," she replied, pulling free. Julian's gaze hardened. "The contract says we marry for business, nothing more. I won't lose another cent, nor another piece of my heart." Yet as the officiant began to read the clauses, neither of them listened. The hush in the room deepened until Adelaide's trembling hand took Julian's, sealing their fate. The first kiss of marriage was supposed to be on the lips, but for them, it was on a promise. A vow inked coldly on parchment, binding two wounded souls into a single uneasy union. That night, the wedding feast echoed with laughter and clinking glasses. The sweet tang of strawberries and champagne filled the air, masking the tension between the bride and groom. She tasted salt on her lips. No tears, she vowed, and swept past guests to the private corridors of Blackwood Manor. In the hush of the corridor, lined with portraits of stern ancestors, Julian found her. His eyes, dark and stormy, searched hers. Before either could speak, he closed the distance, pressing her gently against the cool marble wall. His breath was warm against her neck. Then, a soft click. A hidden panel in the wall slid open, revealing a folder stamped with her family crest. Julian's expression flickered from curiosity to shock. Adelaide froze as he lifted the folder, his fingers trembling. Inside lay a photograph of Adelaide at 10 years old, hand in hand with Julian, as innocent children, smiling in sunlit fields, or so. Secret childhood connection lay exposed. Julian's voice broke the silence. "Why didn't you tell me?" A thunderclap rolled in the distance, matching the thunder in their hearts. The first light of dawn filtered through lace curtains, painting dappled patterns across the drawing room floor. Julian sat opposite Adelaide, the photograph weighed heavily in his palm. His sharp mind raced, yet his heart pounded with confusion. Adelaide's voice trembled as she rose. She crossed to the tea table, the porcelain cups clicking softly under her touch. The scent of bergamot and honey drifted between them, a fragile piece hanging in the balance. He sees only the contract and my betrayal. He doesn't know who I truly am. Julian watched her pour 2 cups of tea. Steam curled upward, carrying with it fleeting warmth. He cleared his throat. Tell me everything. She lifted her gaze, defiant, yet vulnerable. I ran away because I couldn't face the truth. Our family's feud. I thought I'd lost you for good. His jaw clenched. And you hid our past. Adelaide's shoulders slumped. She placed the photograph back in the folder, sealing it with a trembling hand. There's more you don't know. That afternoon, Julian escorted Adelaide through the wrought iron gates of St. Gabriel's Orphanage, one of the many he quietly funded. The children's laughter rang out like silver bells in a sunlit courtyard. Adelaide paused, her chest tightening. I've volunteered here for years. I never told you because you despise charity. He caught her arm. I don't despise kindness. I despise secrets. She led him inside. The corridor smelled of linoleum and hope. A small boy with tousled hair ran forward, throwing his arms around Adelaide's legs. She knelt, brushing wisps of hair from his forehead. Ms. Montgomery, the boy exclaimed. Look, I drew you. He thrust a crayon portrait into her hands, a woman in a gown, surrounded by children beneath a rainbow. Adelaide smiled, tears brimming in her eyes. Julian stood back, watching her. For the first time, he saw her hidden depth, her self-sacrifice, her secret tenderness. His chest loosened. She's not the cold rebel I thought she was. Across town, Maximilian Max Caldwell, Adelaide's vengeful cousin, watched from his sleek black sedan. His lips curled in a triumphant smirk. They're softening toward each other. Time to strike. He clicked a button on his phone and spoke calmly. Proceed with Phase 2. Moments later, a silver USB drive arrived anonymously at Blackwood Manor. Late that night, a maid discovered it on Julian's desk. Breakfast, Julian sat with the USB in front of him, its metallic surface glinting under chandelier light. Adelaide poured fresh coffee, the aroma rich and slightly bitter. He inserted the drive into his laptop. A folder named Blackwood Secrets appeared. His breath hitched. Inside, photographs of Julian's father accepting a briefcase full of money from a shadowy figure. Documents detailing embezzlement, contract fraud, and the collapse of a rival charity bankrolled by the Blackwoods. His eyes widened. This proves everything. Adelaide leaned forward, concern etched on her face. Julian, let me... He stood abruptly, the chair scraping against marble. You knew about this? She shook her head, voice urgent. No, I never... But... Julian's hurt was like a blade. You manipulated me into this marriage to cover your family's crimes. Adelaide's face paled. Max is framing us. He's been jealous of both our families since childhood. He pressed play on a video file. The grainy footage showed Adelaide handing envelopes to a courier, an act taken completely out of context. His chest tightened. You lied to me at every turn. She rushed forward. Please, Julian, believe me, this isn't me. Her tears fell into her coffee. He flinched, then turned away. Hours later, Julian retreated to his private study, mind a whirlwind. He stared at the orphanage photo still open on his phone. The memory of Adelaide's gentle laughter echoed in his ears. Could she truly be innocent? He returned to St. Gabriel's that evening, alone. The gates were locked, but he slipped inside. Through a side door, the corridors were hushed, the air thick with anticipation. In a small storeroom, He found Adelaide kneeling beside a sleeping child, stitching a torn teddy bear. The child stirred, blinking up at her with sleepy trust. Adelaide kissed the child's forehead and whispered, "You're safe with me." Julian's breath caught. He saw her secret world, one of compassion and sacrifice. As Adelaide rose, she turned and froze. On the floor lay a sealed envelope bearing Julian's crest. She opened it, trembling. "Dearest Adelaide, I am truly sorry for everything. I never stopped caring. Meet me where it all began, by the willow tree at dawn. J." Her lips parted in shock. "Julian wrote this, but I never received it." Meanwhile, Max Caldwell watched through his hidden cameras, savoring each moment of their distrust. He uploaded more evidence to the mansion's security feed, late-night visits between Adelaide and a mysterious stranger. By midnight, Julian's phone buzzed with alerts, time-stamped footage of Adelaide in clandestine meetings. His heart thundered with betrayal anew. The next morning, Julian stormed into the manor's grand foyer, USB in hand and eyes ablaze. Adelaide stood on the balcony above, the first light of sunrise crowning her in golden haze. He shouted, voice echoing. "Explain this," she gasped, stepping forward, only to slip on the marble railing. Arms flailing, she teetered at the edge. Julian lunged, heart in his throat, and at that moment, the balcony gave way. The echo of Julian's scream faded into the marble halls. Adelaide lay motionless on the patterned rug, her gown fanned around her like broken petals. Julian dropped to his knees, heart pounding against bone. The scent of spilled coffee and cold stone filled his nostrils. No, not her. He pressed his hands to her frail wrist, searching desperately for a pulse. His fingers trembled, brushing aside dark locks that flared like satin embers against alabaster skin. "Adelaide! Adelaide, stay with me!" Her eyelids fluttered once, then closed. He scooped her into his arms, every muscle straining under her weight. The world around him blurred, gilt banisters, stunned servants, the morning light cutting proud shafts through broken silence. Julian's breath came in ragged gasps as he carried her toward the study, where the old medical kit sat untouched since his mother's passing. "Use what I have. Save her." He laid her on the scarlet chaise lounge, crimson against cream. Blood trickled at her temple, an ominous bloom. He tore a strip from a silk sash, pressing it to her wound. A soft groan escaped her lips, and he exhaled, relief and terror warring in his chest. "Stay with me," he whispered, voice raw. Hours passed with Julian by her side, pacing the floor in a haze of fear. The distant rumble of thunder heralded a storm. Adelaide stirred, warmth seeping back into her cheeks. She opened her eyes to Julian's ashen gaze. He cares so fiercely. She reached a trembling hand to his cheek. "Julian, you saved me," she whispered, voice fragile as glass. His relief shattered, replaced by raging worry. "What were you doing on that balcony? You hid something from me again." Adelaide looked away, pain flickering in her eyes. She pulled a small slip of paper from her bodice, a page torn from a medical journal. Her handwriting scrawled formulas for an experimental serum. "I'm terminal." The words fell like stones in his heart. She steadied herself on an elbow. This serum might save me, but it's untested. I must try it." Julian's world twisted. "No, I won't let you risk your life again." She pressed the paper into his hand. "If I don't, the pain will kill me faster than the disease." He faltered. Rain lashed the windows in jagged staccato. The power flickered, then died, plunging them into thunderous darkness. Adelaide closed her eyes, pain etched in every breath. Julian fought to steady his voice. "I'll take you to the best doctors." She shook her head. "There's no time." He could not argue. Instead, he prepared the serum with trembling hands. The vial glowed faintly under the single oil lamp. He lit. Every drop was a gamble. "Please work." He injected it into her arm. Her body shuddered, a soft cry escaping her lips. Then, silence. Julian pressed his forehead to hers, feeling her heartbeat slow to a whisper. The lamp flickered once, twice, and went out. When the storm subsided hours later, a battered carriage rolled up the drive. Max Caldwell, drenched and triumphant, stormed through the front doors. In his hand, he held another folder stamped Blackwood Medical Files. Julian stood guard at the study door, clutching Adelaide against his chest. Max threw the folder onto the desk with a flourish. "Stop. Playing savior, Blackwood," he sneered. "Your precious wife is beyond help. This document proves she falsified her illness to gain your sympathy, and the fortune that comes with it." Julian's blood froze. He stared at the dossier. Lab reports, forged signatures, a forged insurance application for a multi-million-dollar payout upon Ms. Montgomery's demise. He recoiled as though struck. "No." Adelaide's eyes opened, distant and glazed. She whispered, "Julian, don't listen to him." His world shattered. Had she deceived him all along? Adelaide's head lolled to the side. Her breath slowed until it nearly ceased. Julian's anguished cry echoed through the halls. Lightning flashed, illuminating her pale face, and in that moment, he saw the locket clutched in her hand, its portrait now split in two. Is she truly the woman I loved, or the villain's pawn? He dropped to his knees, cradling her fragile form as the storm raged beyond the windows. Rain-slicked grounds glistened in the pale morning light as Julian raced through the grand foyer, cradling Adelaide's still form. His heart thundered like a war drum. I must save her name, our love, our future. He burst into the library where Max Caldwell stood, drenched and defiant, the Blackwood Medical Files spread across the old oak desk. "Give me one reason to believe you," Julian snarled, voice cracking. Max's triumphant smile faltered as Adelaide stirred, her eyelids fluttering. She clutched the split locket, eyes brimming with torment. Slowly, she rose to her knees. "Max, you lied." Her voice was fragile steel. "You forged every report. You poisoned my serum. You almost killed me to ruin us both." Max's jaw clenched. "I did what your family always did. Use the innocent to choke power." Adelaide pressed a trembling hand to her heart. "No, I stood for hope." She straightened, gaze defiant. "And now, the truth will set us free." Julian stepped forward, his wounds of doubt and betrayal dissolving in pride. He produced his phone and pressed play on a recording. Max's confession, captured by the orphanage's hidden cameras when he threatened Adelaide in the storeroom. Max's eyes widened. "You..." Adelaide held up the shattered locket. Inside, a micro SD card. "This contains every move you made." A hush fell. From the corridor, the constable's boots echoed as he entered, flanked by 2 officers. Adelaide's voice rang clear. "Max Caldwell, you are under arrest for fraud, forgery, and attempted murder." Max's face paled. As handcuffs clicked, shut, the weight of his schemes collapsed around him like a house of cards. Power built on lies cannot stand. Later, under the ancient willow tree where their childhood selves once danced in summer's golden haze, Julian led Adelaide by the hand. The air smelled of damp earth and new beginnings. A soft breeze whispered through the leaves. Julian fell to one knee, the velvet of his suit brushing damp grass. Adelaide Montgomery, my childhood friend, my runaway bride, my salvation, will you stand with me not out of duty, but out of love? Her breath caught. Tears glimmered in her eyes as petals of white blossoms drifted down around them. He opened a small box to reveal a simple silver ring, engraved with a single word. Home. This is where we belong. Adelaide's lips curved into a radiant smile. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger. Their lips met in a tender promise, the memory of every trial melting away in a heartbeat. In the hush that followed, Julian spoke softly as they sat beneath the willow's boughs. Love is not built on contracts or secrets, but on trust, sacrifice, and forgiveness. Adelaide nodded, her hand resting in his. True love demands courage, the courage to reveal your scars and embrace another's wounds. They rose together, hand in hand, stepping into a future where honesty would reign and kindness heal. Did this story touch your heart? Remember, love's greatest lessons often come wrapped in trials. May your own life be blessed with courage to face secrets, compassion to heal wounds, and the unwavering faith that love conquers all. Did this story touch your heart? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Swoon stories.